YouTube. Gonna stream on the YouTubes.
You're glad we made it.
We're live on Facebook.
We're live
Streaming on Facebook. Facebook wants your secret identity.
Episode 31.
Hello, Facebook. Welcome to the Anything New podcast.
Hello, YouTube.
What's up, Face Tubes and U-Books?
U-Books and face tubes.
Okay. Getting ready to get this show started, Facebook. Thanks for hanging out with us. All right. All right, we're ready on Facebook. All right, you guys ready?
Ready.
Yes, sir.
Welcome to Anything New. My name is Pete, and as always, I'm here with Matt
What's up?
and Opey.
Good afternoon.
Anything New is the podcast where we talk about anything new we've been using, perusing, or consuming. Episode 31 on a Sunday night.
Sure.
NBA All-Star Game is going on. 3-point shootout just happened. Curry, of course, the greatest shooter on planet Earth, won that, if you're keeping score at home. But tonight we're going to talk about Lego Masters. We're going to talk about the season finale of WandaVision, Coming to America 2. It's just a jam-packed show, but first we got to talk about the Community Watch boss level. Opie, this was your recommendation. It kind of took a while for it to come to fruition.
So you're going to give me credit, even though Matt went ahead and followed up with it?
Yeah. It was a good pick, so I was just going to use it because it was a super fantastic pick.
Well, see, this is when I came across the trailer for this, and it just, I mean, the name, being a gamer, everyone knows what the boss level is of a game. But I want to change the name to something that's kind of notorious for MMO players. This movie should be called Corpse Run, is what it should be called, because that's what you do in games. Is what he did in this movie. You actually go up to a point and you die, and then you run back to your corpse and you loot your body, and then you go up and you take what you've learned and you keep pushing yourself forward over and over and over and over. So I just kept thinking, why don't they just call this Corpse Run? Because if he's going through a game, he's pretty much just running back to his corpse every single time, sort of. But
oh, for sure.
Yeah. So basically, you're talking about the movie starts off with this guy. He's an ex-military ops guy, and bam, right out of the gate, his alarm goes off, and whack, he's getting attacked by a machete. He's got a hot girl that gets up out of his bed screaming, and he has to get up and start a fight just out of nowhere. And there's actually narration over most of this. He's kind of talking in the third person, or just he's narrating his story along with, the movie. And he's kind of telling you what's happened. And you soon notice that, he's kind of done this before, what he's doing. He's not really surprised at what's going on. And he kind of tells you that apparently something's happened to this guy, that every day he goes through the same routine of fighting his way through his life, and he dies at certain points, only to reawake at the same point every day. Like Groundhog Day with Bill Murray, he just repeats the same day over and over again. And basically the gist of the story is he has to figure out why and who and what's happening through this whole time. And I think it starts off, doesn't it, guys, like on attempt 143 or something like it counts. Like it counts the lives.
It doesn't start at the very, very beginning of his journey. He's already well into it.
Right. But, as you go along, you learn a little bit about the guy. You learn that he's got an ex-girlfriend that he's very, very, very fond of. She's some kind of scientist. I didn't. This is the kind of the part of the story that I really didn't get. I understand the whole synopsis of him dying over and over again, but the part with the girlfriend in the crazy experiment, and then like Mel Gibson's the boss overseeing this lab, like I don't even know what that all related to in the world. They didn't really tell that, did they?
No, and that was, I mean, so I it's okay because this movie was super fun, but they sure did, his girlfriend is working on some kind of experiment that's somehow in some way can affect space-time, but it can also destroy the world if used improperly. Why is she building this?
We don't know.
Who is she doing it for?
We don't know.
Who's really in charge of all this? But
don't worry about that.
It's super fun.
Here's Street Fighter. Let's just watch Street Fighter. Don't worry about all that. Let's play video games and make video game sounds through the whole thing, which I was okay with.
Yeah, so it didn't really fill in any of that stuff, but who cares? It doesn't matter.
For a video game reference, I kind of thought it kind of felt like Just Cause. Like it was just like the game Just Cause, where it's just like action and like over the top explosions and stuff blowing up and like helicopters with Gatling guns and the guy shooting the tow hook into him from the back and then dragging him down the street. I mean, there's just like over the top action and violence.
Real quick, while we're talking about over the top stuff, can we why is Gronk in this movie?
That's what I was going to ask you. Was that Rob Gronkowski? Yeah. Gronkowski's man in the Gatling gun.
Why?
I don't know.
I mean, why not?
That's just such a Gronk spot to be in. Just
I guess.
But right from the get-go, like, did you guys pick up on the opening song? Like, I thought that's one of my favorite personal songs ever of all time.
It had a lot of classic rock in it. Which one was it?
It did.
Yeah.
Foreplay,
I don't remember.
Yeah. Long time.
Yeah.
It's like those, like the beginning, like instrumental is Foreplay by Boston, and it goes into Long Time, which is like that never gets into movies. Like that's just such a good movie, but you just never would hear that. I've never heard it in a movie. I thought it was just a great choice. So, yeah, it was awesome. It was a great choice. But I do need to clarify that I haven't seen the very end of the movie. So
no. Don't say you haven't seen the very end. You haven't seen the literal second half of the movie.
I haven't seen the third act. We'll say that.
Close enough.
So when they start talking about the end of the movie, and then I'm going to take my earbuds out so I can finish it here and just after the show, because if it was lame, I probably would just like power through, and just be like, yeah, I watched the end of it. It was okay. But it's a really good movie, so I really do want to see the end of it and see what happens, because I love these kind of movies. Live, Die, Repeat.
Yeah.
Edge of Tomorrow.
Yes, and I'm glad you mentioned that one, because I think there's a lot of repeat the same day over and over movies. I think Live, Die, Repeat or Edge of Tomorrow, whichever you want to call it, the Tom Cruise one. I think that movie is the closest to this one, even though this one has a slightly more comedic slant to it than Live, Die, Repeat does. But I think in terms of action and what the protagonist goes through and what he has to go through to get to the quote unquote end, I think that's the most similar.
I remember that Live, Die, Repeat. It was
good too.
It was a good movie.
Yeah. Which one was it first? It was Edge of Tomorrow first, right?
I believe so. Yes.
And then it was like one of those weird, very unusual situations where they changed the name of the movie after the theatrical release. They came out on like DVD and like Netflix and stuff, and then they changed it to Live, Die, Repeat, which is an incredible name. That's a great name for a movie, Live, Die, Repeat. But yeah, that's got Tom Hanks in it. So if you like this, you should definitely
Tom Cruise. Although I would love to see Tom Hanks in that one.
Oh, dude. Tom Cruise, my bad. It would be awesome. I'm just kidding. No.
There was Happy Death Day. We watched those, I think, on a Saturday night where, the girl dies on her birthday every and she has to, there's a slasher after, she's got to figure out what's going on. There's one of those, Groundhog Day, obviously. I feel like there's a few more, but yeah, Live, Die, Repeat was the closest one. It was super fun though. Like it's one that, like we said, they didn't explain a lot of the intricate details. You do have to check your brain at the door, but it's all I require from a movie is, did I have fun watching it? And this was super fun. I like Frank Grillo. Dude, that dude's like, in his early 50s, I think.
He's ripped.
He's ripped, and he's good in action movies, and I feel like
he is.
Well, yeah. I mean, he's got the kind of eyes you can get lost in. No, I feel like he kind of plays the same character in pretty much every movie.
Oh, sure.
But that's okay, because I mean, I think this was probably the most comedic thing I've seen him in, and it wasn't even like a comedy, but it did have a lot of humor, subtle humor built in, and I think this was the funniest thing I've seen him in. And he looked like he was having fun with it, which a lot of other stuff I've seen him in he didn't seem like he was like he was grim and gritty, but this one he was having fun.
All right, we'll let Pete pull out the earbud, and we'll give you a thumbs up, Pete.
Go ahead, just give me a thumbs up when you're done.
Okay, so basically, like I said, I didn't get a lot that was going on with the lab part of it. Right. The part with his son was really great, and the fact that he was trying to figure that out. It kind of was crazy that they had different plots. Like at first, he thought he just had to live, and then and then he found out he had a son. So he's like, "Wow, I can spend time with my son over and over and over again, even though if I don't, if I don't figure this out." And then once his son gave him the clue, right? About he said she's talking about you a lot, and said, he said something about Osiris, and in that book.
Yeah. Well, so to back up, it does give you, we start like at attempt number 100 and whatever. That's where the movie starts. We do get a flashback what happened the day before,
right? How
he got into the situation in the first place.
Right.
Like we said, the girlfriend's working on some project. She gave him a clue before she was taken off with the bad guy. She gave him a clue. He didn't really know what it meant at the time. When he woke up in his repeating day, he thought he was told by Mel Gibson, who is the big bad in this, that he killed her. He was told that she's dead.
Yeah.
So he's like, well, shoot, I don't know what to do. He turns out her son is his son. The son doesn't know. In talking with his son later, his son sort of says something that makes him realize, she's actually not dead.
Mm-hmm.
So that becomes one of the things he has.
Oh, yeah, she talked to him this morning, earlier that morning. Yeah.
Yeah, she dies. She dies the morning of his day that he repeats, but he has time to save her, which is the cool thing. So, that's the information we get later. You were, as a dad. I loved the part where he realized that he can't stop. I guess something happens with this machine, and it actually does destroy the world at the end of that day. And he lives it over and over and over. So he's going to spend that day with his kid, and it just shows him day after day playing video games and going to the park and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
I thought that was fantastic. I thought that was really touching. And then one thing we didn't mention too is part of his repeating day every day is there's a whole bunch of assassins that are coming after him, and they're tracking him via his an implant in his tooth. He finds out, and I thought that was cool because that was like mini bosses in video games.
Exactly.
It's like a level. I've got to beat this guy, and then I got to go over here and beat this guy, and I've got to you get so far, then you die. You got to start all the way over, and you got to hope you can beat those guys again.
Yep.
I have a question for you. Why was Mel Gibson in this?
That was a great question, and I have no idea. I said that a million times, along with the whole lab thing. I have no idea what his role was in this at all. Like even when he tells her to turn the thing on, and she takes his hair, and like his character is supposed to be the missing link in starting it all up, and she actually turned it on. No one ever explains any of that. What he was going to do. So if you're watching this, just kind of take Mel Gibson and like the whole story he tells him about the anaconda and the wild boar. Like he's supposed to be. I don't understand what that was all about either way, but you just kind of zone out the Mel Gibson part because number one, he doesn't fight. He does fight hand to hand, but it's not anything crazy.
Well, see, that's the thing. This movie is called Boss Level. He's got to get through all these assassins / mini bosses that we talked about. Yeah. And then I thought, okay, now he's going to have to go toe to toe with Mel Gibson, and like they fight once, and he beats him pretty easily. And then when he repeats the day and has to defeat him again,
he just kills him quickly.
He just shoots him in the face, and that's it. Yeah. Like he never has a problem beating Mel Gibson, who's supposed to be the guy running the show,
right? But as far as the ending go, it's nothing spectacular. I mean, I mean, I guess I kind of expected him to live. So basically, he makes it all the way through. He figures out from his son that his girlfriend or his son's mom is still alive. So he takes a shortcut, which when he figured that out, I was like, you got 15 minutes to save her. How in the world? Yeah. And then he jumps on the helicopter, which was really awesome. And makes the helicopter fly him all the way there. And of course, I guess he could do that as many times as he wanted to get down in there. But he only had to do it once, he said. To get from the helicopter down there, and he's like, "How'd you get in here?" And she goes, he slides under the table, stabs the bodyguard, and then kills Mel Gibson. And she's like, "How many times do you have to do this?" And he said, "Once to come save her." Once he figured out how to get there,
I think what I interpreted was she said, "How many times have you done this?" Talking about how many times have you lived this day.
Oh yeah.
And he just said once, just to make it sound like, "Oh yeah, don't worry about it."
That's not what you thought. Okay.
Don't think a thing about it. It only took me one time, even though he's had to do it like over 200 times.
Yeah, but anyway, so at the end, she wants to try to turn the machine off, and the only way to try to turn the machine off is him walking into the machine and just being absorbed.
Sure, why not? But see, the one, so the small, and they didn't make it this way to be a twist, but the one small twist that I thought was different from the other movies is, I thought, oh, he's going to walk into the machine because that's what she says he has to do. He walks into the machine, it breaks the loop, and I thought, okay, cool. They're going to go on with their merry way, but it resets everything so that he has to repeat the day one more time. So he has to go through all that one more time, and he has to make sure he lives one more time. But if he does, then time will continue. It won't reset again. Whereas usually like in Groundhog Day or those other movies, once they figure it out, whatever it is they have to do, they go to bed and then they just wake up the next day and say, oh, okay, everything's fine now. But he had to go through it one more time, and that's how it ended. Was he woke up at the very end of the movie. He wakes up in the same place and says, all I have to do today is live. And he looks at the camera and says, that should be easy, or something like that. And then that was it.
Yeah.
Oh, and it ended like with the guy who's trying to hit him with the machete.
Yeah.
Like the day starts every time. So
yeah.
And I liked with Michelle Yeoh, I liked how the thing that made me think of Live Die Repeat is how Michelle Yeoh plays this sword master. She doesn't really have a big role in the movie, but he needs to learn how to fight with a sword because one of the assassins fights with a sword. So he goes to her, and it's very Live, Die, Repeat, where Tom Cruise always goes to John Krasinski's wife. What's her name? I don't remember. Emily Blunt. She trains him.
Yeah.
One day at a time, but over and over how to fight.
Yeah,
Michelle Yeoh trains him how to fight with a sword one day at a time, but he does it over and over. I remember that
Tom Cruise walks into that training area where she's just hanging out with all that shit, and he just gets cut in half one time, or just
exactly. That's exactly kind of like what this is. So he learns how to fight with a sword by repeating the same day like 30 times.
That's crazy. But anyway.
It was super fun.
Fun factor real high. Don't take it very seriously. Do not try to understand what's going on, because it is what it is, and it'll be right out there, and it's super fun to watch. So it was a good pick. See if Pete'll see if Pete'll. Here he comes.
Yeah.
Hey,
Jeez Louise, talk about long-winded.
Well, and then Batman showed up. No.
That's right.
All right, so I'm sure I will concur on. It looked like you guys were very animated and enjoyed it, but it looked like there was a lot of like, who knows?
Who knows?
I don't know why.
I don't know.
What's the deal with all this time travel?
What's the deal with all the time travel?
I'm going to finish it up tonight, so I can't wait to watch it. But we didn't want to keep our tens of hundreds of thousands of viewers and listeners waiting for us tonight.
Right.
All right, let's move on. It's time to talk about WandaVision.
No. What's your pick?
I gotta talk. I have my pick. Okay. Oh, and I close out that tab. Hold on just a second. Okay, here it is. I got it. Thank goodness it was still on the thing. So I apologize if you guys have seen this. I don't know anybody who's seen this.
Okay.
But I think it looks pretty good. So this is... Let me get up the synopsis.
It's something to watch, right?
It's something to watch.
Okay.
And, okay. It's on Netflix.
Okay.
I Care a Lot.
No.
I added that to my list on Netflix because I was going to watch it at some point. Yeah.
Peter Dinklage is in it, so I mean it's got to be good, right?
Yeah.
But it says so. It's supposed to be kind of like a dark comedy. Is kind of the way that I kind of picked it up. But it's a court-appointed legal guardian defrauds her older clients and traps them under her care. I don't really understand, but it looked pretty good. I didn't you know how Netflix trailers are? You don't really want to watch them if you think you might be interested in the movie because you won't have to watch the movie.
So I will tell you about this one real quick. Don't watch the trailer because I made that mistake. In our Discord we talk about it a lot. Don't watch Netflix trailers because like movie trailers are getting worse and worse about revealing everything. Netflix specific trailers for their movies, their TV shows are fine because it's so many episodes. But Netflix trailers for their movies are the worst because they reveal everything. And I wish I had not watched the trailer for this because it doesn't reveal the ending, but it does reveal more about the story than I wanted to know. It would have been cool to find out this other thing about the story going into it. So, so just take it for what it's worth. As IMDb says, a crooked legal guardian who drains the savings of her elderly wards.
Right. But there's something to do with the gangster, right? Like I remember seeing there's some gangster tie. When I read like the Wikipedia thing on it when I was deciding which to watch, but
she
looks like it might be pretty good.
Character, I guess. She's sort of fraudulent,
Yeah.
So she's scamming old people. Kit Bogus should call her.
We'll see. It's like one of those. It could be great, or it could be not be great. We'll see.
This just hit Netflix within the last week or two. February 19th, I guess, is when it said. But yeah, I added it to my stuff on Netflix because I was gonna watch it sometime.
Okay. So all right, I Care a Lot on Netflix. Watch it, and we'll talk about it next week. Let's move on. The part of the show we've all been waiting for. we endured, or I should say, we got to experience 8 episodes. Was it 8 episodes? 9 episodes?
9, yeah.
9 weeks of WandaVision. And I'll be the first to say it started off a little slow for me, and then it kind of picked up. I'm glad I watched it. I feel like I've learned a lot in the MCU by watching this. But I should just pass. I'm going to pass this over to Matt because he's the resident expert on all things comic book related. So how did you feel? How did this leave you, Matt?
Well, so the problem with these kinds of shows is that the fans get super worked up, and the fans start developing these theories, and the theories get bigger, more intricate. And then when those theories don't pan out,
right,
it's seen as a disappointment. So, we've talked a little bit about the show or on this show. Internet's gone crazy. Oh, Mephisto's coming. We're going to get Reed Richards or Victor Von Doom. We're going to get, this is how the X-Men come in.
Tobey Maguire.
Doctor Strange is going to show up at the end.
Yeah.
All this stuff. None of that stuff happened. Agatha, or Agatha's husband Ralph is going to be the big bad because we've never seen him. All this stuff, none of that stuff happened. There was nobody else controlling Wanda. Agatha wasn't really behind the whole thing. She was sort of influencing some action.
Yeah.
But, so as I was watching it, and as it was getting closer to the end, just for like the briefest of moments in my brain, I was like, wait a minute. When's Mephisto going to come in, or Nightmare, or Chthon, or whoever? All these different characters. And so for the briefest moment, I was a little bit disappointed until I realized, wait a minute, they never gave any indication that any of that stuff was going to happen. Right. That was just me creating that in my head. Yeah. And then when I snapped back to reality and realized that the ending that they gave us is very fitting for the content and the story they gave us, I liked it very much. We got some hot vision on vision action. Yeah. We got some hot witch on witch action. Yeah. We find out that, or we don't really. Well, I guess we do find out some new stuff, but we had learned that Wanda really was the responsible for all of it. So we learned a little bit more about her witch powers and things like that. I don't know. I liked it. I mean, I thought it was a good ending, and it left the door open for more cool stuff. There was a post-credit scene with Monica Rambeau and what she's going to go do, and then there was another post-credit scene with Wanda in a secluded house, and she was reading from the Darkhold, the mysterious book that they showed. So that's going to lead into probably Doctor Strange. So I really liked it.
I saw a cool story on the internet about it because me being more of a muggle on this kind of stuff, I kind of have to go read up on stuff because I don't really pick up on a lot of it as it happens. But the title of the story was WandaVision failed to deliver things that were never promised to me, and I thought that was pretty fitting because it's just like you said, I was waiting for like Wolverine or somebody to come busting in at the end. Like, when's the X-Men coming in? Because that's what everybody was saying like for the last 4 or 5 episodes, right? That they're introducing mutants into the multiverse, blah blah blah. You know what I mean? So I was kind of waiting on all that, and then that didn't happen. But it still was great. Like I love my favorite part was when it was like Vision versus White Vision.
Yeah.
And then they realized like their powers were kind of like equal. So then they just kind of had like a philosophical debate on like, you know what I mean? And that's kind of what settled the confrontation. I thought that was really cool. So
right.
But I liked it. It didn't have a big shebang at the end or like something really big for me, but I thought that they did a good job of kind of tying all the loose ends. It was kind of a letdown that the brother was just the husband of Agatha, right? Like kind of
that was the one thing I thought they could have done more with was Ralph. Pietro was actually Ralph, who actually wasn't really anybody. That was the one thing that didn't.
So that actor, go ahead.
When he said that, and they're in the room, and they kind of like did that reveal. I was like, wait, no way. Like that's not.
It ended up being nothing. Like casting Evan Peters as Pietro was total stunt casting to throw off all the fanboys.
Yeah,
wow,
they did a good job.
Yeah,
wow.
He served that actor in that role served no other purpose than to F with us. Is literally exactly what it was.
That's crazy. I thought it was great. I thought it, like you said, it really tied the show. And I don't read. I take what we talk about here, and I kind of maybe ask Matt a couple of questions, but I don't read up on it. I watch the show and I take the show for what it is, and I thought they did a great job of tying up the show. The only thing I wish that they would have done is I was kind of hoping that White Vision now is Vision would have came back and said, "Hey, I'm now Vision, the Vision, because that's what happened. I mean, he just booted his conjured Vision. Gave White Vision all of his memory or unlocked his memory, correct? And
sort of. So I think what we're going to be left with is so the multicolored Vision that Wanda conjured, he disappeared when she's gone, right?
Yeah.
Because she took down the Hex, just like her kids are gone supposedly. But the multicolored Vision was basically able to transfer all of his memories of all the past things with the Avengers and all that. Was able to transfer his memories into the White Vision. So the White Vision now has all the knowledge that regular Vision had. However, what I feel like is that White Vision has the knowledge and the memories, but he doesn't have the emotions. So I don't think that White Vision is going to, and that's sort of how it happened in the comics too, was when White Vision first came out, he was just a cold android. Throughout several stories, he got the memories back, but he didn't get the personality back right away. Throughout more stories he did. But so I think and he flew away, so we don't know where he went. So that's one of the big question marks is where did he go? When's he going to come back? But I feel like when he does come back, he will know everything that regular Vision knew, but he won't have that deep emotion.
Okay.
He'll still be sort of colder.
Okay.
And less emotion or more emotionless than regular Vision.
Okay. I thought it was good. I did thought it was good, guys.
Just real quick, the 2 post-credit scenes. So Monica Rambeau gets pulled aside by a mysterious sword agent, I guess, or FBI agent. Turns out it's a Skrull, and said he wants to see you. And she pointed up the sky, so that's gonna, that's Nick Fury. from the end of Spider-Man: Far From Home. When we first saw that in that movie, everybody thought, okay, that's Sword, because in the comics, Sword is basically S.H.I.E.L.D. but in space, and they police all the cosmic stuff. But we saw in this show, we saw Sword is like more like Earthbound.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe he's not with Sword, but whoever he's with, that's where Monica's going to go. And then I feel like the main point of this whole series was to further build and develop Wanda's character, because I think she's going to play a big part. She's in the next Doctor Strange movie, but I think she's going to play a big part in it because it's all about the multiverse. She is a big key to unlocking the multiverse, and they couldn't have just done that with what we've seen from Avengers. So I feel like they had to build her up to get her to that point to where she could do bigger things in the next Doctor Strange movie. So I think that's what the whole point of this whole series was, to prepare her for the next Doctor Strange movie. Almost like a prequel for that movie specifically. But it was good, though. Yeah, I mean, that title, Pete, that you referenced, it failed to deliver on things it never promised. That's the perfect summation. Yeah. And if you take the fanboy out of it and just look at the story that they told, then I thought it ended great.
Yep. I thought so, too. I had no clue what any of that post-credit stuff was. I didn't know. It's like, why did this chick just turn into an alien? Who are they pointing up to? I didn't really get all that. I thought they kind of left Monica Rambeau's character she didn't do anything.
Right.
That was kind of a letdown with her.
Except for absorb bullets.
But Sword and Shield, Pokemon Sword and Shield. I kind of get the reference now.
Right.
Not really.
No, she'll be back. She might come back in I don't know if she'll be she'll probably be in Captain Marvel 2, and she might be in the Secret Invasion series. It's going to be on Disney Plus in a couple of years, probably.
I never saw was it Captain Marvel?
Captain Marvel.
Yeah, Captain Marvel. It introduced those green people. So
yeah, the Skrulls, the green shape-shifting aliens.
Is that worth watching? Is it good?
I thought it was good. It's not the best for me. It's on the lower edge of the MCU spectrum, but I liked it.
Yeah, it's a lower tier MCU movie.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
But but Captain Marvel's such seems like just such a cosmic, powerful character, and it just seems like the movie just couldn't live up to. I guess it was more of a backstory thing.
Maybe I'll watch one of those Captain Marvel in 5 minutes on YouTube. That way I can go right into the next.
But you did you not pick up on her being in the end game? Like, she didn't really do much. She just kind of showed up with her mohawk and left.
Yeah, I knew there was a movie about her, so when I saw her in Endgame, I kind of knew what she was doing in there, but I don't know any of the other than Guardians of the Galaxy, like all the astral stuff. I don't really know too much about all that stuff.
But if you want to watch it, it's worth a watch.
Okay.
One thing I was going to say, and Pete, you and I talked about it when I slid into your DMs, the Darkhold, the book that they were talking about.
Yeah,
we actually saw that already in a season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. There was a whole season around it. But and they used to say that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was connected to the MCU, but then eventually the movies and the show started to just completely go in different directions. So Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is basically its own thing. So the Darkhold, even though we've seen it in live action before, I think this is supposed to be the first time, its real first introduction into the MCU, and it's this big evil mystical book, and Wanda's reading it, so she's going to get superpower. She's going to be super powerful by the time Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness comes out. So that's going to be exciting.
Awesome. Well, it was a good series, and I'm kind of caught up with all the fanboys now. So now if something happens on the next series and they reference something from WandaVision, I can be like, oh, I get it. I got that. I watched WandaVision.
You will be ready. So when you go watch Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, you will get a lot of the Wanda references, because a lot of this was set up for that.
Yeah. Awesome. Can't wait. All right, let's move on.
Yep.
We got Lego Masters. This is a show Matt wanted to talk about. I remember seeing
I've seen some of it.
When it first came out, like a year or so ago, I remember seeing a little bit of it. I never watched an episode, and when you brought it up, I kind of mentioned, is that the show where they drop like Lego things off of like a second story? And I guess there's a way more to it than that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, so this is a show from, and I think it originally it was a show. It was an Australian show. I'm pretty sure, or maybe in Europe somewhere. But they did an American version. I want to say in 2019. Will Arnett is the host because he was the voice of Lego Batman, so they brought him in to be the host. And then they have two judges who are actual Lego designers that actually work for Lego, and the whole thing is basically like. A cooking show. Name whatever cooking show you want where they have to compete every week.
Iron Chef.
Yeah. Well, not necessarily that one because it's the same people every week, and then they eliminate a team every week.
Okay.
But basically, there you go. That's a good one. They're not quite as mean. But and every week they have a challenge, or not they have a challenge, but they have a you have to build, and it's different every week. So one week was you have to. The first one was, here is half of an amusement park built. Now you each take a square of it, and you have to build something. You have to add on to the amusement park, and it's got to be big and fancy, and it needs to move. One of them was they gave them real world objects that were cut in half.
Oh wow!
Like a fire hydrant, or a bicycle, or a guitar. Cut perfectly in half, and then on the cut side, they had put a bunch of Lego studs, and their challenge was to build off that, but not just build the other half of the fire hydrant, to build something super creative that ties into the fire hydrant. So they don't always smash the stuff. That was just one of the challenges. But so my son started watching it. I told him in 2019, I was like, "Hey man, we should watch this show. It sounds awesome." And he goes, "Eh."
Yeah.
And then a couple weeks ago, he's like, "Daddy, we should watch this." I'm like, "Yeah, we should have watched it 2 years ago, but let's watch it now." So we've been watching an episode here and there. We're about halfway done. The most recent one was they had to build a bridge that was 6 feet long.
Oh, wow.
And it had to support weight, and they would put weights on it. And whichever one held the most weight was the winner. Whichever one held the least weight before it all smashed apart, they were the losers. But it's just the same group of people every week, and they just get whittled down one by one until there's a winner. So like I said, we're about halfway through it, but it is so much fun. If you like Lego, I love Lego. Lego's been my favorite toy since I was a kid, and I still like them today. I still build them and stuff, and we've shown off some of them. So if you like that kind of stuff, but these guys are like next level builders. They can build all kinds of huge moving stuff, and they have unlimited pieces, and they can build all kinds of stuff I never would be able to even dream of.
Pete, when Peyton was at Oak Hill, did he do the Wolver Lego thing? Wolverbots with the kids, the program that the schools use where they take Legos and they build the robots to perform functions. Do you remember a long time ago, Matt? I think I sent you guys like pictures of my son doing that at a little, at some things. That's
my son did that one year at his school. Like he would stay after and do it. Yeah, that was super fun too. Yeah, they went to a competition and everything. Yeah,
those are some cool sets of expensive stuff when you get into that programming and things like that. That was pretty cool. As far as the
Lego Masters is super cool. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
What was it on? What do you watch it streaming on?
I'm watching on Hulu. So it was on Fox, and you can see the whole thing on Hulu.
Cool.
It's just so much fun. You have to like Lego and seeing people build stuff, but it's really fun. Will Arnett's really funny in it. He keeps the entertainment going. But yeah, it's super worth it if you're into that kind of stuff. It's really good. Yep.
Awesome. All right, Lego Masters. All right, next thing I want to talk about is Coming to America.
Ooh.
2. Even though it's really just called Coming to America. So this was kind of... I didn't even realize it had been released. And it kind of popped out of nowhere. It wasn't even like on my radar. So, But my wife is a huge Coming to America fan. And when I say huge, I mean we have seen it hundreds of, I don't know how many, not 100. If we really think about 100 times watching a movie, we haven't seen it 100 times.
Right.
Yet. But we've probably seen it 20 times, which is a lot if you think about watching a movie.
Like Coming to America, it's a good 80s classic. Everybody our age has seen it, and it's funny. It's a good movie, but I didn't think that there was any like Coming to America super fans. That's just a sort of an obscure movie to be a super fan about.
She loves it. we have there's just a lot of like little, things that we would always say from like we have a lot of little one-liners from movies, so like there would be a lot of times where if we're out or something and somebody says something funny, or we'll have like a little like rebuttal for like a movie. Like one of them was always like sexual chocolate. We'd always just kind of say like sexual chocolate. Somebody did something and they thought that, I don't know. Anyway,
I do the biggest reference I ever go back to on that is the Soul Glow.
Yeah, Soul Glow is great.
Soul Glow.
Daryl with his Soul Glow. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But okay, so just I don't want to ruin anything for you guys if you're going to watch it, but you got to take it for what it is. Like this was more or less kind of like just a tribute movie.
Okay.
Like they weren't really trying to progress any sort of story. It was pretty much Eddie Murphy, I think, and Arsenio were like probably got together one night at a club and was like, man, we should go back and like make another one and just bring everybody back.
Yeah.
And when I say everybody, I mean everybody.
Oh.
If there's somebody from the first one, the only big person that I didn't see was what's his name? Oh shoot, I can't remember. Anyway, even like Louis Anderson. Remember Louis Anderson from where he was working in the restaurant?
Was James Earl Jones back in it?
James Earl Jones is in it.
What?
Yeah. Like it was just like
Eric LaSalle?
Who was he?
He was the Soul Glow guy.
No, he was not in it. But
Okay.
I think that he might have passed away. I'm not sure.
I don't know.
Is he alive? I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyway, they're the people that did pass away, they kind of like mention it. Like his mom in the first movie, I think she must have passed away in real life because they kind of did like they talked about how they missed her and how important she was and stuff like that. But I mean, it's like there's just so many people that were from the first one that are in this one. But I mean, basically the premise of the story is that Prince Hakeem actually had a child when he went. Remember how he was going to America to sow his wild oats?
Mm-hmm.
So do you remember the scene where they do like the speed dating? And like the twins are like, my name is and I'm best to fill our breasts. Remember that?
Yeah.
And then Arsenio's dressed up like a woman. He's like, like the olive in his mouth, like, So apparently they do like some deep fake stuff where they redo that whole scene.
What?
But then they show like a scene where they take one of the girls back and like she pretty much just like kind of gets aggressive with Akeem, and then anyway he ends up having a son, right? So they find out about it because he has all daughters back in Zamunda.
Yeah,
he has all daughters, and then James Earl Jones is like on his deathbed and he's like, you have a son, we kept it from you because we were hoping that you would have a son here, but you're not going to. So you need to go get your son so the kingdom can move on, because they gotta have a guy, right? So it's all about going back to America and finding the son, bringing him back. But then there's like a tribal war with like just some guys from Zamunda, and then they ended up, the girl, like his daughters, end up defending the country. So then it's just a whole big to-do, but it was really just a big homage movie because the story was kind of crappy, but every time like somebody would come out, you were like, oh my gosh, it's so-and-so from the first one.
Did they get the guys in the barber shop? Were they there?
Yes, of course.
Oh,
and then there's like a big wedding scene at the end, and like everybody's there, and it's just a really happy movie.
I think I would have to watch the first one again before the second one because I haven't seen the first one since I was probably a kid.
Are you serious? Oh my gosh, we've seen
probably a teenager at least. Yeah.
One of the funniest parts. Do you remember in the first one when they're trying to find him a suitor, right? And he doesn't like any of the girls are bringing him because he's like, Father, I want to find a true love of my own, you know. And there's like this one girl who comes up and she's just like drop dead gorgeous, right? Like in Zamunda, and he tells her like, bark like a dog, and she's like, "Arf, arf, arf," and she's like jumping around like barking like a dog, and kind of goes out of the scene barking like a dog. In this movie, there's like this one part where a guy comes up, he's like, would you mind to remove the hex from my sister? She comes, and it's the same lady, but she's aged and she's still barking like a dog.
Oh no, that's funny.
Like, oh, I'm so sorry.
Remove the
hex. It was just funny. There's like so many little just paying homage to the first movie. But it was, I mean, if you're a fan of the first one, you should watch it, but just expect that there's not going to be anything, there's no Oscar-winning performances.
Yeah. It's not going to win any awards, but yeah.
It's just a fun movie if you're a super fan of the first one, and Diana is. So, but we both were kind of like, oh, okay, this is super cheesy, but it was worth watching. But,
nice.
All right, let's move on. We're going to talk about the PocketGo S30.
Boom, boom.
Do you have yours available?
I do have mine right here. Available, therefore, such as.
Oh yeah, I've got mine somewhere around here. Hold on, let me find
it. Right before we went to our special man trip this year, Opie and I had ordered these little retro handheld devices. I'm going to hold mine up in front of the. So on these are kind of fashioned after a Super Nintendo controller, but you can load them up with emulators. So we have like Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance. There's like Sega Genesis. There's like the.
Did it come with the emulators? I know it didn't come with the games.
So,
but did it have the emulators?
It does come with emulators. It doesn't come with the ROMs, the games, right. But there's somebody online had shared a file that has the better emulators and more customability. So we kind of updated them to that. And check this out. This is pretty cool. Let's hear the little sound.
Nice.
But there's like this website called Scraper where you can add preview videos for each game. So at each game that you have, and it'll put like the little sound and like the little preview of the game. It's all free.
It's a lot like your arcade cabinet.
Yeah, it's basically.
But it's like it's fashioned for like, for this device. So, but yeah, it's a cool little device, and they're super.
Matt,
they're super.
I didn't know there was a Wolverine game for the NES.
Yeah.
Did you know?
Really? Yeah, I think I played it. It's kind of weird because you lose health if you use your claws, I think, or something. It's weird.
Really?
Not super great.
Okay.
But it's fun just kind of going back and reliving some of the games of yesteryear. The crazy thing is, like, it's got like, I don't know how many games did we put on here, Opie, like 2,000 or 3,000.
It's got a lot. It's a lot on here, and the good thing is
go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, James was messaging me. He's like, man, I'm sitting here waiting for the kids to get out of school and playing RC Pro-Am. I'm like, whatever. I was like, good luck beating RC Pro-Am because of the turbo car. And if anybody listening's ever played RC Pro-Am, once you get it to a certain point in the game, the freaking game cheats. And it cheats deliberately because there's a car that hits turbo speed and you cannot beat the car unless you shoot it with a missile or it wrecks or hit it with an oil slick or just somehow manage to stay in front of it to advance. And it happens like in the later races, it happens like every time. It makes a distinct sound when it powers up, and I do not know why they put it in the game. The more that I think about it, I wish that I could do some research and see why whoever made... Who'd you say RC Pro-Am was made by? Rare Games. Put that in the game, but
who makes Sea of Thieves?
But James is like, whatever, you can pause these games and like replay your saved game, so you don't, even a game that did not save on an emulator, you can save it and go back to that point and play it again. So
they have a save state hotkey, which is select and RB.
Yep.
So like what I've been doing on games like this where you couldn't save any time. You had to just play it through, and if you lost, you were done. You had to start all over, right? So now that I'm kind of getting in the harder levels, I'll save the game after I complete a level and I'm happy with my performance. I'll save, and then if I lose the next round, then I can just go back to this one, load that up. It's a way of completing a game that really is pretty difficult.
Yeah.
So... we'll see. I don't know, but there's a ton of games. You wouldn't believe how many Game Boy Advance games there are. Like there are, like I think it was like 1,400 is what when I was looking through like the ROMs download list. So I didn't load all those onto there. I only loaded on like.
So where did you order
50.
these from?
This is from a Chinese company. So like when you order it, you have to order it from China. So that's what took so long. Like Opie and I were hoping to have it for our man trip. So we'd ordered it. I don't know. It was like a few weeks before then, and it didn't come in time. And I was tracking it, and it was like it had left like Shanghai, and I went to another distribution center and was waiting on pickup, and then sat in customs for a while.
Oh man!
So I'd say it probably took 18 days to get here, which is a long time, but
totally worth it.
Totally worth it.
I think so. If you're into like the little retro video games and stuff like that, and I mean they have like expensive options. Like if you want like some that are like made out of metal and stuff, like you could spend upwards of like $100, you know, on one of those things, or $200 probably. But this is just a little.
The good thing about it,
plastic thing,
and it's like the MAME arcades, is that it's totally open source. So like originally the memory card that it ships with, you pretty much want to get a bigger one, and then the guy that kind of showed James how to get the scraper program and all that stuff on YouTube totally redid the firmware on it and made it a lot, and totally customized it, and you can just basically throw the OS on your memory card, throw it in your Go, and you've got a completely new OS. Make changes. That's how you do it. You don't really have to like plug the whole handheld in. Everything runs off the memory card, so it's like the hard drive.
Sounds like a RetroPie.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, it's close to it.
Yeah. So we got that, and we're playing with them, and it makes the pickup line for the kids a lot easier. When they're sitting there hanging out waiting for that, or like I showed that little bezel for the Game Boy, which I thought was really cool. Like did you see that, Matt?
Yeah. That was real. Oh yeah, where it looked like an actual Game Boy with the on light and on. Yeah, that was super cool.
With the little on light. Yeah, so they added some little touches on things that I thought was pretty neat. But I don't know, if you're into retro games,
cool,
you might want to check it out.
But wait, can you play like NES games?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Pretty much anything up to, what was it? Opie, was it Nintendo 64?
No, he was playing PS1.
Dreamcast.
He was playing PS1 and Dreamcast.
Yeah.
You just have to add some what they call BIOS files in there, because the disc games, I guess, are a little bigger and run a little bit different. It's just, to probably PS2 won't. Probably PS1 Dreamcast is about your limit on it.
Yeah. And there were games where they couldn't get them to run.
Yeah, and that's just saying, that's going for. I think there was like a couple of racing games on. Either Dreamcast or PS1 that it just would not, the frames just dropped. It just couldn't hold up to the performance. But anything 8-bit, Game Boy, all that stuff is smooth sailing.
Yeah. Well, it was awesome that you guys had all these backups of games that you own.
Exactly.
That you could just put on there.
Yes.
That's the bezel for the Game Boy, so it looks like
it's like an old school Game Boy.
The old school Game Boy. So
love it.
I don't know. It's fun. It's fun to play around with.
It is.
But I wanna play through some of the, like I was doing with the RC Pro Am, and I didn't even know there was an RC Pro Am 2.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna play that.
Yep.
All right, let's move on. We've got some pickups to talk about. Matt, do you want to start off with your pickups for the week?
Yeah, I just have a couple. I went to Target. And I haven't seen a toy at my Target in probably the last 7 years. Usually it's just all tumbleweeds. But I went last Friday and I picked up 2 Marvel Legends. I got the new Wolverine. This is like an X-Men specific line. I had actually pre-ordered this from Amazon, but it hadn't shipped yet, so I got this one and canceled my pre-order. And then I found one of the little guys.
Love that.
Yeah, the 3 3/4 inch. They're called Marvel Legends, but they're different. Just 1, 2, 3. Yeah, just 5 points of articulation. But I love these guys. I ordered the first wave from Hasbro Pulse, and they've since released another wave that are specific to Target now. Going to come out later in more places later. But this is the only one I've ever seen. But I'll definitely be getting all of this line specifically whenever I can find it.
Got to go every day.
Got to go every day. That's what they say. That's what the experts say. You got to go every day. and I go once a month.
Nice.
So
Nice.
That's it for me.
That's it?
Yep.
Opie, what you got?
Well, we done saw the PocketGo, but I didn't get anything for me. I was stuffing Matt's Fun Box again, and I went a little crazy because I was at Walmart, and we've kind of been collecting the McFarlane Spawn line of figures, and he's got this specific line to Walmart that are gold label. They're supposed to be exclusive type ones, and they had a bunch of them. So here's the first one, which is the Spawn, whatever this Mandarin.
Mandarin Spawn.
Yeah, and you see the gold label in the top right corner. That's a special one, and that's what it looks like on the back. So I don't know anything about this. I didn't even know if he wanted it or not. So I messaged him real quick. Thank goodness he was around. And then here's the just the Batman. This is a multiverse Batman. I don't even know. This looks pretty.
That Batman's actually not from anything. That Batman is designed by Todd McFarlane. That's what the catch to that one is. It's designed by him himself.
Whoa! Because the artwork on the back looks pretty dope.
Yeah. Yeah. So I had pre-ordered that one from Amazon as well, but it's slightly different color variations. So I canceled my pre-order for that as well. Now that you found the original.
Okay. So you'd rather had this one than the... Now, was the one from Amazon gold label or whatever?
No. And it was the same figure, but it was like... Just his suit was a little bit different colored. That's all.
Yeah, but that is it for me. That's all I got.
They do have a gold label of this Witcher figure, and instead of this color, he's more in like sort of brown.
Yeah, I sent you that. They had that one too.
Yeah, but I like this one better.
Okay.
So that's why I passed on the Witcher. I think this one's cool.
Oh, so you're not into just collecting variants. You're just collecting what you like.
I just like, just the ones I like. I don't have to have the different ones of all of them.
You're not trying to catch them all?
No, not at all.
Okay. So it's my turn?
Yep.
So a little story behind this one. One of the benefits of having a son who's 14 is that now I feel comfortable, even though my wife doesn't really. My son was going to Target with his girlfriend and their family. Like they was like, I'm gonna go hang out with them for a little while, and they're gonna go to Target and all this stuff. Well, I've been trying to get this game for the Switch for a while. This Bravely Default 2 Switch JRPG. For some reason, my Walmart is just like sold out of it every time I go there. Like it has a reserved spot. It's got the name on the sticker. There's just nothing there. So they say they get their games every Tuesday. Well, for some reason, in my area, everybody's going to Walmart to buy Bravely Default 2 whenever it comes out. So
did you check Amazon or GameStop?
Well, yeah, maybe? But I wasn't in a huge hurry. Anytime I go, I wasn't making a special trip, but anytime I go, I just kind of go back there and check.
Gotcha.
And see if it was there, and it was never there. So Peyton was going out with his friend. I'm like, hey, take my credit card. I took a picture of the game, and I'm like, if they have this game, pick it up for me. So
That's dangerous. Here, son, take my credit card.
Well, it was funny because he came in and he was like, hey, I got me a pack of mechanical pencils and some file folders for school. So when my kid, buys stuff he's not supposed to, it's like school related. So
yeah.
Anywho,
and then you look at your credit card bill and you're like, son, did those pencils cost $300?
Nice, dude.
So Bravely Default 2, this is a JRPG.
I wonder if our buddy Level Cap Dan has ever seen or played that, or maybe wants to play it.
This is getting great reviews.
Wow.
And
it looks good.
And it's like super kind of like old school Final Fantasy-y.
Turn-based.
Turn-based combat.
God,
it's grindy.
I need a Switch because I want to play the Dragon Quest game on the Switch. There's a couple of good Dragon Quest games.
If only we knew a friend who had a Switch Lite that they never used. Maybe he could just like let you buy it or something.
That's why I brought it up. You said you don't want a Switch Lite.
I don't really want a Switch Lite.
Well, there you go.
Wow.
So, all right. Well, that's my pickup. So
that's awesome. Well, you'll have to. I look forward to hearing about it on next week's episode.
I am. I'm gonna break it open, play. I'm kind of hoping, whenever I get these little games, I'm always like, well, it's for PAX, since he's the Nintendo guy in the house, But I would kind of like to introduce him into something like this because he he'll play like some games on a Switch, but they're always kind of like more mindless games.
Yeah.
Or even like Animal Crossing. Like it's just kind of something where but to get him to like, really like kind of read into something like this and like let him understand about, combat and like the turn-based stuff, because it's slower pace. You don't have to be so quick on the triggers and stuff. You know what I mean? So
you might try a game like Neo Kuni 2, or well, one's only on the PS. I don't know if you could play it on anything else, but
I have Neo Kuni 2 on PS4.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that might be a good idea.
Because it's a little bit of well, the first, I don't know any. Apparently, the second one's completely different than the first one. Maybe the combat is, but I know the first one, it was a lot of collecting, kind of like Pokemon, and with your pets. So they called them something different. Familiars, yeah. And you fed them and built them up, and they did the fighting. It was a really interesting combat setup on the first one.
It was confusing though. It didn't. It was. Yeah, I played the first one for a little bit, and the combat was weird.
Yeah, but
Kuni 2 supposedly has like some city building involved in it too. Like where you have to like.
Yeah, and I don't know if I want that. I don't know if I want that in my game.
All right.
A lot of times they try and mix genres a little bit when they don't really need to. Right. Kind of throw it in there.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Well, anything else?
Well, Dan is in the YouTubes. He's watching this. I have seen it, and it looks interesting. Need to build Brave and use default in it. It has interesting gameplay. Okay.
There you go. Our resident
can't wait to hear about
JRPG expert.
I knew it. I knew he would. I knew he would say something.
I will play it, and I'll give my opinion on it next week. Even though it sounds that everybody's saying it's super grindy, so I don't think I could power through it in a week. But I'll be able to give a first impression of it. So, all right, Matt, you want to hit on our social medias before we go today?
Hey, social media, how you doing? No, you said you said you want to hit on your social media. Never mind. We have a Twitter account. You can tweet at us or watch the stuff that we tweet at anythingnewcast. Our Instagram, anythingnewpodcast. Guys, send us an email. We got a Gmail, anythingnewpodcast@gmail.com. We are still waiting to give away stuff to anybody who just emails us anything. We got a couple links. We got a couple bit.ly links, bit.ly. You guys know the bit.ly URL shortening thing. bit.ly/anythingnewYT will get you to our YouTube channel, which we are streaming on right now. We're also streaming on Facebook, so you can just search for Anything New Podcast on Facebook. And you can use bit.ly/anythingnew Discord and the number 1 on the end. And that will get you into our Discord, where we talk about all kinds of cool stuff. We've been talking about a lot of WandaVision. And I'm sure we're going to talk about Falcon and the Winter Soldier in 2 weeks. At least on the Discord. I don't know if we'll do it in the show, but at least on Discord. So yeah, come talk to us there.
All right. Awesome. Well, we'll catch you guys next week for episode 32.
Yeah,
the Marcus Allen.
That's crazy. I mean, how long have we been doing this? Does that mean we've been doing this for 31 weeks?
Yeah, we haven't missed a week yet. So this is the 31st week we've been doing this.
And you know what happens at 45?
What?
You get your prostate checked.
It's right.
Have to get a colonoscopy.
Yeah, so we'll do that on camera, all of us.
Whoa.
When do you have
Listen,
to
I'm only episode 43, okay?
Yeah, they said it's 50 now. I asked my doctor, it's the new age is 50, so I don't have to...
Whew.
I don't have
Looking forward to that.
Oh my gosh. I've heard that drinking the stuff is worse than the actual...
What are we talking about? Let's go. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening.
Next week.
Thanks, guys.
See ya.
All right, Craig is done. Thanks to Facebook for hanging out with us.
Thanks, Dan, and thanks YouTube.
Colonoscopies maybe next week.
Yeah, well, I'll put that on the number 1 on the schedule. That'll be my pick.
All right. Facebook is